Dear friends, welcome to DEEPSIGHT. I will take you on a journey through time and space into the millennium of medieval Europe. In the last issue, we introduced how the medieval church arose from the ruins of Rome. Today, we will further discuss with you how the royal power of European barbarians developed simultaneously with the development of the church. The title of this issue is Church and Kingship. After the fall of the Western Roman Empire, the barbarians established many countries, and in the process of development, they absorbed, inherited, and carried forward the natural science knowledge and experience from ancient Greece and Rome. These countries later evolved into the various European countries today. If you want to understand today's European structure, you must be clear about the European Middle Ages. This was a 1,000-year process in which different countries formed by barbarians emerged one after another after civilization was destroyed, fought with each other, and integrated. Eventually, the various countries in Europe today were gradually formed. Nationality. The rise and fall of barbarian kingdoms in the early Middle Ages was a complex and gradual process, related to the failure of the Roman Empire to properly handle the barbarian immigrants on the border and the great migration of ethnic groups caused by the Huns' invasion of Europe and the influx of Germans into Rome to escape the war. Here are some important barbarian kingdoms and their historical background. Ostrogothic Kingdom, founded in the 5th century by the Ostrogoths in northeastern Italy. Later it was conquered by the Byzantine Empire. Frankish Kingdom, founded in the 5th century by the Franks in what is now France, Germany, and Italy. Clovis's conversion to Catholicism won him the support of the bishops and established Frankish rule in Gaul. Lombard Kingdom, founded in the 6th century by the Lombards in northern Italy. Their territory included part of the Italian peninsula. Kingdom of Odo-Acer, founded in the 5th century by the Odo-Acer people in what is now southern France. Kingdom of Burgundy, founded in the 5th century by the Burgundians in the Rhone River Basin in southeastern Gaul. Vandal Kingdom, founded in the 5th century by the Vandals in the northwest corner of Africa. Visigothic Kingdom, founded in the 5th century on the Iberian Peninsula by the Visigoths. However, it was later conquered by the Franks. Anglo-Saxon Kingdom, founded in the 5th century, the Anglo-Saxons created a number of small kingdoms on the British Isles. The reasons for the demise of these kingdoms varied from country to country, but generally included internal strife, external pressure, economic problems, and political instability. As for conversions to Christianity, some of these kingdoms did convert to Christianity, but not all. For example, the Frankish kingdom converted to Catholicism, while the Ostrogothic kingdom embraced Arian Christianity. These transformations had a profound impact on the development and culture of the kingdom. Barbarian is actually a relatively civilized concept, not an absolute name. For the Greeks who live in marble buildings and are surrounded by artistic sculptures, even the Macedonians at their doorstep, and the Persians across the sea, all cultural. Economic and political issues. The nations whose religious beliefs and systems are behind them are also called barbarians. So the barbarian invasion era mentioned in the Greek Homer epic refers to various ethnic groups from the north. By the Roman era, ancient civilization had reached its peak. Whether it was clothing, architecture, culture, or religion, the Romans' sense of superiority and arrogance were unrivaled. The Roman arena was a place where barbarian captives and wild beasts were captured. They were put together to share life and death, while the emperor and the noble ladies and citizens elegantly ate fruits and watched the bloody scene with thunderous cheers. For people living outside Rome, changing their own destiny is the most powerful way to fight. Motivation. Therefore, barbarians are a concept that has been despised by civilization for a long time. If advanced alien civilizations really existed, from the perspective of God, the entire human civilization would be a complete barbarian civilization. Otherwise, humans would not still have wars and killings. The process of ancient civilization history is also the process of human beings moving from ignorance and barbarism to wisdom and civilization. Although stories of barbarism destroying civilization are constantly being staged, after this, without exception, barbarism returns to civilization. The rise of the barbarian kingdom is a complex historical process involving multiple factors such as geography, politics, religion, and culture. There are multiple reasons why the barbarians established their own kingdoms in the early European Middle Ages. Some of the key factors are as follows. Geographical location. The rise of barbarian kingdoms is closely related to geographical location. For example, the Frankish kingdom was able to survive and develop into a powerful state in part because its location in Central Europe allowed it to control important transportation routes and resources. Fief system. The barbarian kingdom adopted the fief system, which awarded conquered land to nobles to consolidate their rule and cultivate military nobles. This helps manage large territories and maintain stability. Christian conversion. Some barbarian kingdoms converted to Christianity, which not only won them the support of the local population, but also won them the recognition of the Roman remnant. Christian faith also helps to weaken ethnic conflicts. Decline of the Roman Empire. The fall of the Western Roman Empire led to the collapse of the entire Old Roman order. The barbarians were no longer strong during this period, creating opportunities for them to establish kingdoms. Internal political struggles. Political struggles and power struggles within barbarian kingdoms also affected the formation of kingdoms. For example, the Franks gradually formed a powerful state through internal strife. So, how did the relationship between kingship and the church form in the European Middle Ages? In fact, before the fall of the Western Roman Empire, some barbarians had begun to accept Christianity, especially the Germanic people who gradually integrated into Roman society. Christian teachings emphasize personal faith, hope, love, salvation, and moral norms. Its concept of equality brings hope to ordinary people, allowing people to forget hatred between people and experience the world with love. Universal values attract a wide range of lower-class people, not just the nobility and ruling class. Those new immigrants who had just entered Roman civilized society and were despised as barbarians joined the church as a sign of social recognition. This undoubtedly attracted the vast majority of barbarians who yearned for civilization and longed to get rid of the barbaric label. When Germanic barbarians destroyed the Western Roman Empire, society fell into chaos. During this period, the church became a key force for social stability. Christianity was not destroyed by the barbarian invasions. Instead, it survived and began to evolve in the Middle Ages, becoming the main ideology of the time. Christianity brought the whole society into one system, and its influence reached a wider scope. Take the later conversion of the powerful Frankish king Clovis I as an example. This marked a turning point in barbarian faith. Later, more barbarian kingdoms also accepted Christianity. Clovis I's choice to convert to Christian orthodoxy may have been influenced by his wife Clotilde, a princess of the Kingdom of Burgundy and a devout Trinitarian believer. Another possible reason is that Clovis prayed to God in a battle and won a victory, after which he voluntarily converted to the Trinity. These events reflect the complexity of personal belief choices combined with political and cultural factors. Beginning in the 4th century and lasting until the 7th century, Christianity went from 300 years of dark oppression to 1,000 years of vigorous development in the Middle Ages. This was a process that marked the beginning of the conversion of various Germanic barbarian tribes and kingdoms to Christianity in Western Europe. The entire Middle Ages was the history of European barbarians outside Roman territory continuing to believe in Christianity from west to east and entering civilization. This shows that the spread and acceptance of Christianity was a gradual process rather than a one-time event. In fact, the Goths and other barbarians who invaded the Western Roman Empire had already accepted Christianity before this, which undoubtedly laid a certain foundation for the further extensive missionary activities of the Roman Church. No one likes to be marginalized by other ethnic groups and become barbarians in other people's words, so a church that can accept barbarians and be tolerant of them is the comfort and destination of the barbarian souls. The Germans who established their country on Roman soil embraced Christianity, but the Germans outside Roman territory still retained their primitive beliefs and were called new barbarians who needed to be assimilated. This is the gradual evolution of the formation of a new order. The rise of the Church is closely related to the spread of Christianity. As a collective organization of believers, the Church is composed of bishops, pastors, and believers, forming a hierarchical organizational structure. The Church plays an important role in religious rituals, moral norms, teachings, and social services. Through the establishment of doctrine, the compilation of the Bible, and the convening of religious conferences, the Church gradually established the core doctrines and systems of Christianity. Through the above discussion, we can understand the reason why the barbarians chose to convert instead of destroying its state religion like they destroyed the ancient Roman Empire. There are many reasons for this. First of all, the original religious beliefs of the Germans included the concept of soul reincarnation, which made it easier for them to accept Christian teachings. Secondly, Christians regard Jesus as the Savior, which makes the Germanic people believe that they can be saved as long as they believe in Jesus. Finally, for the newly rising barbarian countries, as a new political power established by the barbarians, the ruling class comes from the bottom of society in the past. To establish the legal rationality of the rule, it is an indispensable link to be recognized by the Church. Its kingship needs the support of the religious level, and gave it legitimacy from heaven. The Church combined with the leaders of the Germans and gave them the right to rule. This new social system not only expanded and established the influence of the Church, but also acted as a strong restriction on the abuse of royal power. Therefore, when countries throughout the Middle Ages were dispersed and feudal forces were numerous, common beliefs made the Church a unique link. The combination of barbarians and Christianity had a profound impact on European culture and society. First, Christianity provided the Germanic people with a new worldview and values, helping them transform from primitive belief systems into more unified and organized religious beliefs. This transformation not only affected their personal lives, but also promoted peaceful coexistence and cultural exchanges between different barbarian tribes. Culturally, the Germans adopted Roman cultural heritage, including law, art, and literature. They began to imitate Roman architectural styles, learn Latin, and preserve and spread classical literature. This cultural fusion eventually led to the Renaissance in medieval Europe, including the famous Carolingian Renaissance, a cultural revival movement centered on Charlemagne that emphasized the importance of classical culture and promoted education and academic development. Socially, the Christian Church became one of the major social institutions in medieval Europe. The Church is not only responsible for religious affairs, but also for education, medical care, and welfare. Monasteries and churches became centers of knowledge and cultural transmission, as well as important sites of community service. In addition, Christian teachings emphasized human dignity and equality. These concepts gradually penetrated into European legal and political systems, laying the foundation for subsequent democratic systems and human rights laws. In general, the combination of barbarians and Christianity had a significant impact on the culture and society of medieval Europe, promoting the progress of civilization and social stability. The Pope and the royal power constructed a new social structure based on the feudal system in medieval Europe, which was a strict hierarchy and formed new social classes, including nobles, including kings, dukes, counts, etc. They own land and political power and are the ruling class of society. Priests, including bishops, priests, monks, etc. They have influence in religion and education and sometimes participate in political affairs. Knights, as vassals of nobles, they provided military services to protect the territory and the safety of their lords. Freemen, they owned certain land and property and could conduct commercial activities, but were still bound by the feudal system. Serfs, they were the lowest class of society, bound to the land of their lords, engaged in agricultural production, and did not have the right to move freely. Under the feudal system, there were clear obligations and rights between various classes. The nobility and clergy controlled most of the land and resources, while serfs provided them with labor and military service. This social structure lasted for thousands of years in medieval Europe, until modern changes gradually changed this pattern. How influential was Christianity in medieval European society? It is so big that it has penetrated into every corner of society and has extremely important influence. It is not only the core of religious belief, but also profoundly affects many aspects such as politics, culture, education, and art. Here are some key points. Political influence. During the Middle Ages, the Pope and the Church had great power and influence in European politics. The Church not only guides people spiritually, but also plays an important role in secular politics. The Pope even has the power to intervene in the king's decisions. Culture and education. The Christian Church became the guardian of knowledge and culture. During the so-called Dark Ages, monasteries and church schools were centers for the preservation and dissemination of classical knowledge. In addition, many universities were established on the basis of churches, and the spread of Christianity injected new ideas and concepts into European education. Art and architecture. Christian themes and symbols often appear in medieval churches, cathedrals, monasteries, and works of art. Romanesque and Gothic architecture, religious paintings, and other cultural arts are deeply influenced by Christian culture. These achievements shaped the social structure and cultural landscape of the time, and also laid the foundation for the subsequent Renaissance and the development of modern Europe. So why is the European Middle Ages, when a new order was formed, still called the Dark Ages? The reasons why the Middle Ages are called the Dark Ages are mainly due to the following reasons. First, frequent wars. Medieval Europe was a war-prone area. 100-year-long wars and short-lived conflicts continued, leading to social chaos and people suffering. Second, the oppression of the feudal system. In feudal society, the nobility and the church controlled a large amount of power and wealth, while ordinary people were in a position of being oppressed and exploited. Third, the stagnation of culture and science. Due to the strict control of the church, heretical thoughts and behaviors were regarded as sins, many scientists and thinkers were persecuted, and the development of culture and science was restricted. Fourth, poor health and medical conditions. Medical conditions in the Middle Ages were backward, and unscientific medical methods such as bloodletting led to many unnecessary deaths. At the same time, people generally lack hygiene awareness, leading to the widespread spread of diseases. Fifth, the restriction of thought by religion. Religion imposes strict restrictions on people's thoughts and behaviors. Women are particularly persecuted, accused of being witches and subjected to cruel treatment. However, this title is also disputed by some modern scholars today. They believe that although the above-mentioned problems did exist in the Middle Ages, there were also many cultural and scientific achievements that should not be generally regarded as dark. The Middle Ages was also a period when many important social structures and cultural traditions were formed, which had a profound impact on later generations. In short, after Christianity established its status as a legal and state religion in the Western Roman Empire, it had a profound impact on society. It not only had an impact in many fields such as law, philosophy, literature, and art, but also became an important part of Western European culture. The Christian faith emphasized love, dedication, and sacrifice, which had a positive inspiration for the poor and backward European society at that time. The entire Middle Ages can be said to be the history of the church and royal power, and the influence of Christianity further expanded. The church is not only the center of religious belief, but also the center of academic, cultural, and political activities. The church holds the power of education and knowledge dissemination, and has an influence that cannot be ignored at all levels of society. Christian doctrine and the authority of the church become, for the cornerstone of medieval society. Barbarian invasions and settlement changed the political landscape of Western Europe, while the Christian faith provided a unifying cultural and religious framework. The rise of the church reflected the growing influence and authority of Christianity in Western European society. The history of this period shows how religious beliefs played a role in political and social change, and how the church became a central pillar of Western European civilization. Audience friends, thank you for accompanying and watching. This is our content for this issue. We will continue to tell you about the historical process of the European Middle Ages in the next issue. You are welcome to leave a message and subscribe, communicate and discuss together, learn and make progress together, pursue the truth of history, and foresee a bright future. See you next time.